Hey everyone, it's Elliot from the Techie, and I'm back today with another video in our Proxmox and Kubernetes infrastructure build. In the last video, we built a 3-node K3s cluster from scratch on Proxmox with Cilium, MetalLB, and NGINX Ingress. The cluster is up, networking is good to go, but right now, let's say a pod were to die, any data on it, would die with it. So that's a problem that we need to fix, and that's what we're going to solve today by installing Longhorn. If you're unfamiliar with Longhorn, it's basically a distributed block storage system that replicates data across our worker nodes. So, by the end of this, every workload that we deploy will have persistent storage that survives pod restarts as well as node failures. And this is pretty much the foundation of everything that's going to come next that we deploy. So that's going to be our HashiCorp Vault, our ChromaDB databases, and our AI agent itself. So a lot of things that we're about to deploy are going to rely on this infrastructure that we set up here. So let's get into it. I hope you're ready to start typing and getting this set up, and I'll see you shortly. All right, so we're back here at the terminal, and the first thing we want to do is just verify the work that we did from the last video. So from my dev machine here, I have a Mac Mini. I'm going to run kubectl get nodes -o wide. Our status, or this shows all our nodes, our K3s server and our 2 workers. Status is showing ready. That's good to go. Everything's great. Next, let's go ahead and check our pods. So I'm going to say kubectl get pods -a. And all our pods are up and running. We've had no restarts. That is perfect. That's what we want to see from yesterday. So now we're ready to install Longhorn. And again, just quickly, it's basically just provides us replicated block storage across our worker nodes. So every Longhorn volume, is replicated to multiple nodes. So you can lose a worker and your data still survives. And then we have PVCs that bind these replicated volumes. And I think that's per volume chain, or I'd have to go look up the exact definition for the PVC. But it's basically what binds all our replicated volumes together. So let's go ahead and verify. We got to do some prerequisites on our workers as well. So I'm going to SSH into my my worker. So let's go ahead and check basically. So we'll say SSH into Elliot at, and our first worker is at 102. 102. All right, and I'm going to clear my screen. I'm going to do a lot of clears this time on this video because I realized in my last one that I had my terminal font too big, so you couldn't necessarily see the bottom of the screen all the times. But luckily in that video I was doing some clears, so it wasn't as bad. But I'm going to make some changes in this video, so just let me know if I run into any issues in the comments, and I'll be able to address those going forward. So we're in our worker now, and let's go ahead and make sure that it's that the open ICSI is open and listening. So I'm going to say systemctl, and we'll say status of iscsid.socket. And that's what we want to see. It's up and running, and it's good to go. All right, and it's listening. So you normally would check both of them. I've done some prerequisite stuff. I know that the worker 2 is good to go, so I'm not going to check it here. But that's just want to make sure that the services are up and running on your workers before we actually install Longhorn on our server node here. So I need to SSH into that node. So I'm going to say SSH to Elliot at 192, and we're at 101. All right. So let's download the repo. So we'll say helm repo add Longhorn from https:// and it's at charts.longhorn.io. All right, again, I've already done this, so it exists already, so it's going to skip that part. You do need to then update the repo, so we'll say helm update repo, or helm repo update, sorry. All right, so the repo is updated, and now let's install Longhorn. So we'll say helm install Longhorn, and then we'll say Longhorn / Longhorn. All right, next we need to create our namespace. So we'll say namespace is Longhorn -system. And we'll say create -namespace. And we'll set our default settings and our default replica count to 2. And I forgot to add my last thing. I'm going to do my -- version is going to be 1.10.2. I just like to do that. It's still in use. So, well, we're good. Longhorn is installed. We're good to go. So you don't have to worry about that. Normally I do pin the version at the end, but if you forget, as you see, don't worry about it there. Now, the next thing that we want to do, let's just real quick and talk about what we just did. So, adding the repo, and then we installed it in its own namespace, and then we gave it a replica count of 2. So the replica count is set so that every volume is written to, with a number of 2, it basically means that every volume is written to 2 out of our 3 nodes. And that's going to give us enough redundancy here in the home lab without burning through all of our disk space. But if you were doing this in production, I believe the default best practice is to have it go replicated between 3 nodes. So, there's a little bit of difference there, but like I said, we're not going to worry about that. We're in a home lab, and having, the 2 is just fine. So now we just need to wait for Longhorn to get installed and be ready, and we can check that with this command. We'll say kubectl -n Longhorn system, or Longhorn / system get pods -w. Okay, now this -w flag is going to stream the pod status in real time. So as this runs, you're going to see things like error image pull back off, crash loop back off, or something like that. And all of that's normal, that's fine. What's happening is CSI pods, they race for their leader election and restart a few times before they actually settle on who it's going to be. So just let this run, let it watch. If the output, ever seems to be stalled, you can just always check the final status with this command. So I'm going to go ahead and let's do that. So let's get out of there, and then we'll clear. Now you can check the status here. We'll say kubectl, and we'll say -n Longhorn system get pods. And there they go. They are all up. They are all running. You see, like I said, they had a couple of restarts. They were just deciding who's going to, take the lead there. But we're all good. We're all set up there. So let's also make sure our storage class was created. So we'll say kubectl get storage class. And we should see Longhorn listed. It is good. All right, and it's there. All right, next thing we're going to do here is we're going to remove the default. You see this local path? We're going to remove that from default. K3s built this in, so but we want our Longhorn to be the only default there. So what I'm going to say kubectl patch storage class local path -p. Now let me copy and paste this here. I sometimes will mess this up with all the colons and whatnot, so we'll just say there. All right. And hit enter. All right. So now our local path was done. And then now I'll go ahead and just, normally you would do this, but I've done it already, but we'll do it for the sake of the video. So I'll say kubectl patch StorageClass Longhorn -p all right, and I'm gonna copy and paste again. All right, so it's patched, it's changed, we're good to go. So let's see, let's just make sure if we run get storage class, there you see it. All right, so our local path is no longer default, Longhorn is, that's what we want. All right, so let's prove this all works, right? So we're going to go ahead and create that's what it's called, a persistent volume claim. That's what PVC stands for. We're going to create a persistent volume claim asking for 1 gig of storage. It's going to spin up a pod that writes, a file to it, and then it's going to confirm that the data is there. So real quick, in Kubernetes, a PVC is just a way that Kubernetes requests disk space. Longhorn is what handles the actual replication behind the scenes. So that's just a little bit more insight here. So I'm not going to make this video a little bit shorter, I'm not going to type out the entire test here. It'll be in the document that I upload that you can have. But the test is basically, let's see here, let me make sure I have it all. Bear with me 1 second. Okay. So here's the test that we ran. As you can see, we set up the API versions, and we got our persistent volume claim here. We gave it its specs of what it's supposed to do, the storage amount of 1 gig. We got the API version for the pod, the name of the pod, the image that it's going to use, all the good stuff. All right. So as we see here, the persistent volume claim was created and the test pod was created. So that's exactly what we want to see. And it is good to work, or good to go. Now we're going to wait for the pod to get ready, and then we're going to verify it that it's working. And we're going to do that with this command here. So we're going to, kubectl wait for the pod to come up ready. It's going to time out, and then it's going to should print Longhorn works to let us know that everything is good to go. And I'll pause while this runs. All right, and we're back, and we got our confirmation that Longhorn is now working, so we're good to go. Now, next thing we need to do, let's go ahead and clean up all these tests and everything that we've done so that we can then get ready to do our whole setup, because this is basically now set up in what we needed to see in order to get Longhorn set up for our next step, which will be the vault. So to finish up this video, though, we're going to go ahead and just say kubectl delete pod, and it's going to be Longhorn -test -pod. Uh-oh. So it can take a while for these to go. I'm going to just cancel out there. I just wanted to show you guys the commands themselves, and then we'll say kubectl delete the persistent volume chain, so PVC Longhorn -test. All right, so it's deleted. So we have now got our Longhorn instance established and set up. we are good with this part of the video, guys. We've done the next step. Now, coming forward or going forward, the next thing that we're going to do is install our HashiCorp Vault, which is going to provide integrates, secrets management with dynamic secrets, automatic secrets rotation, logging, access policies, all that good stuff. So that'll be our next video. So I hope you come along. If you like this video, give it a like. You can go check out, like I said, some more of my other projects from my websites, thetechie.com. I appreciate you guys for staying with me, and I hope you found this valuable. See you next time.